everybody, welcome back to Bish's RV. My name is Josh the RV Nerd, and if you have a vehicle with kind of limited capacity, but you need to sleep a bunch of people, this is a very cool little sort of in-betweener that works where a lot of other floor planes simply don't. It essentially gives us the sleeping space of a tandem axle kind of double over double bunkhouse camper, squished down just barely into a single axle platform. Now, being real, this is heavy for a single axle camper, but of course they outfit it with a big hefty axle to work with that. This also rides on a Norco chassis. It's not the traditional Lippert I-beam frame. Some people prefer one over the other. What I'm going to do in this video is tell you what this is, what it does, what it doesn't do, and let you decide if it's good or not. There's going to be a lot of people who are like, man, if it just had tandem axles. Jayco makes that. It's called a 21 MBH. It's a little longer, a little heavier, a little more expensive though, and requires a little bit more budget and a little more vehicle. This is the one that can work pretty nicely for a lot of tow package mid-size pickups. Not all of them, but quite a few, like the old Ford Ranger, you know, something like that. But it has double Asdel composite walls. Basically, it's aluminum framed, laminated, wall structure, a full walk-on roof structure. But up top on the roof, you've got not only their 200-watt solar package, but also like just this generic sort of rack where you want to strap a kayak to this thing, bike racks. You want to add more solar panels to this without needing to screw into the roof structure. This is a camper that can do stuff like that for you. It does ride on the Goodyear Wrangler tires, those kind of, off-road like truck tires. The underbelly of this is also enclosed, which is very, very rare on single axle campers. It's 7.5 foot wide, so it's not so big that seeing around it is really spooky and scary in transit. Little mini camp kitchen, big space-giving U-dinette, and a whole bunch of other things. It's got things you might like, things you might not. I want to just show you, again, what it is, be just candid with you and let you decide if you like it. And if you appreciate that, hit that subscribe button, and let's get in there. So before we jump inside, I've developed a very bad habit of not displaying awnings anymore. Basically, over the years, processes where I work have changed, and I don't always have the opportunity to get these things open. Sometimes they're parked too close together, and it kind of fell out of my order of operation. So before I forgot again, I thought I'd go ahead and take a look at this here. So, I mean, if you walk inside the RV, this is, at the stores, this is exactly what you're gonna look at here. Now, I'm gonna try to offer a quick look at this and then some more detail as we go. I do wanna mention, yeah, that's a corner bed. To keep the RV within single axle size and weight limits, it's what they had to do. If you look at this, you go, man, it'd be so much better if they just extended it a little bit and made a walk-around bed. They offer that. That's a different model. So that'd be called the 21 MBH J-Feather. If almost at any point in this video, you look at this RV and say, if they only made it just slightly bigger, the answer would be they already make that. It's called the 21 MBH J-Feather. This is intentionally made to be a little bit smaller. And if you're like, man, I don't want to slide out, I need smaller still, lighter weight, less cost, that's okay. That's called a 171 J-Feather. They make a whole lineup here for all sorts of purposes. And, this RV has some great qualities, but when you squished it down like this, the counter space was pretty much cooked. No pun intended, as we're looking at a 3-burner stove top, There's an optional oven available for this now. And people go, well, I wish they did a 2-burner stovetop. Well, they have to standardize one countertop for production reasons. And because they offer an oven, they have to size it for a 3-burner stove. Because they have to. Like, they have to pick one line and basically ride it till they die. Now, the refrigerator in this is bigger than it had been in past years. They are now running a 10 cubic foot, 12-volt compressor fridge. They used to run an 8 at some point. Let me get the bathroom door out of the way. I forgot I left that open. This does lock, by the way, so you have a little bit of privacy, which is nice. And, we have ourselves that handy-dandy built-in bunk lighter. For some reason, I wanted to throw the phrase cotton candy at the end there, and I'm just like, nope, that's too done even for me, but I guess in a sense I already did. Always like to look around to see where the plugs are located. If I'm not mistaken, they're actually over here on the right-hand wall, but both bunks have their own breeze window. Both bunks have their own privacy curtain, all of which is really, really nice. But one thing I want to mention in relation to those privacy curtains, the airflow. This RV doesn't have central air. So if you close off those privacy curtains, it is going to be a sweaty Betty hot box inside those bunks very, very quickly as those little energy bomb children decide to heat things up in there. Now, another interesting thing they do here, they have a little cargo bunk arrangement, but it's interior cargo only. It doesn't pass all the way through because the water heater is located back there. Essentially, they ran out of space in other areas of the RV to hide the water heater, so it had to go on the back side of the camper, which in a sense I don't mind, because it means that the hot air exhaust point on that water heater is now nowhere near your kids' campsite play area. So that's kind of a thing to mention. Now, based on your feedback, they used to have a basically a black line on the inside of all the cabinetry right there. And folks just said that I don't like it. It feels kind of dirty. I wish it wasn't there. So they just sort of tweaked up and cleaned up the decor a little bit. They used to offer 2 decors. This is currently the only decor that they offer, just for what it's worth. Now, because counter space is limited, they did not have the chance to put the biggest sink in here ever. But I think for what they had, they didn't do bad. It's more of a rectangular basin sink. Are you going to be able to put dinner plates in there? No. But can you wash a couple cups pretty quick and easy or something like that? Yes. It's a small camper. Sometimes you have those little accommodations to make. By the way, you have a full 13,500 BTU roof air conditioner, and in the living room, you have a standard XL vent fan so that if you are dry camping, where you don't have a generator, you're not running the air conditioner, you can open all of these cross breeze windows, of which there are a ton as you start to look around the RV, and you can get some really good airflow going around in here. Now, the bed arrangement, again, this is a short queen bed, which could be a problem for some folks. I think it's 60 by 76, so it's a true queen width. It's just not a true queen length. The thing is, it can go away. And if what you need for some rainy day sanity is a little bit more open space in this RV, you can put the bed away and basically... it's not that you really even gain a lot of space in the RV. It's just that people aren't sitting on your bed. Like, that's a very private space, and I don't know. That's weird when somebody else sits on your bed. Like, I don't care if my daughter hops in our bedroom and my wife and I are there and just sits on the corner of the bed and we chit-chat or whatever. But, I don't want, if you invite a guest over, I don't want somebody else's kid on my mattress, I don't know. Anyway, maybe I'm just weird. Am I weird? I'm weird, right? Now, the television. Let's talk about this. It's not ideal. Actually, very few builders of this layout include a television. So the fact that they're including a 12-volt smart TV is kind of exceptional. The thing is, if you are stuck inside on a rainy day, someone's going to say, this is really stupid. If you lay on the sofa, you sit on the sofa, you can't even watch TV. It's not made for that. It's made for, like, keeping the kids from driving you nuts on a rainy day. And that's one of the best locations to accomplish that. And if you don't like that, if you'd rather it be somewhere else, that's fine. Do me a favor, leave me a comment and say it would be better if it was in this place instead of that place, because there's not a whole lot of space in this RV to try to put TV hookups anywhere else, And storage in little campers, especially bunkhouses, is always tricky. So there's no like dedicated hanging storage in this RV, but I appreciate the fact that they did what they could where they could. This overhead cabinet is actually quite large, and you could do a lot of good work with this. I also love the fact that the cabinet doors hold themselves open. That you tend to have magnet holdbacks and hidden hinges on all the cabinetry here. And you may notice off the right side of the screen, the little, you do have a privacy curtain for the front bed area in here. The thing is, again, you pull that curtain, you could end up, making it quite warm in front of that curtain in the bed space there. But some people just really want their visual privacy. I respect it. And I'm a little surprised this floor plan has maintained the portable picnic table that you could always use as a Dinofa right here, as compared to most of your J-Feathers have subbed this out for a pair of TV trays. So I was a little surprised to see this one kind of was a little bit of a holdover. Now, over here, this is what I call a true U-dinette. So this is actually an additional, like, adult-sized sleeping space, which, if you're doing some buddy camping, can be really, really handy. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry, I haven't displayed this. You might notice the windows are nicely framed out, but they have the blackout roller shades as compared to the cloth pleated blinds. And as dumb as this sounds, I really love the fact that they included a couple lights in the top of that slide out. There's a lot of brands that'll just save a buck by not putting lighting anywhere, or it's the dumbest thing, guys. But like the Velcro that keeps the cushions in place, first of all, they included it. Secondly, they stapled it in place. And I'm not saying staples are like, woo, you should do backflips over staples. What I'm saying is a lot of brands won't do any of that. And they at least did it here. And I get it, stapled Velcro doesn't sound sexy, but the fact is, it's going to work. This dinette's interesting. There is storage, sorry, my hand's in the way, under this bench over here. And there is storage under the rear bench. You could get to it from the inside if you take apart the whole dinette. You don't have to. We'll see that when we go outside. But you might notice there's not a cabinet door for the left bench because there's nothing under the left bench. Basically, they had to cut a chunk out of the slide to make the slide fit over the wheel well, which meant they didn't have the opportunity for storage space there. So hopefully the extra visual reference there helps kind of tie all of that together. Working our way around, it is a little bit surprising. They still have the dinosaur analog thermostat over here, but that's our solar charge controller. People get really spooked. They don't get to know your charge controller. People, they don't know how to run it. They don't know how to operate it. And they're like, my solar package sucks. It's probably just not set right. And frankly, that's something your dealership should have helped you with. And you know what? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. That applies just as much to us at Bish's RV as any other place. If you purchase an RV from us and we don't make sure that your charge controller is using like the correct type of battery and is properly charging your RV, then we've let you down and we need to do better. You know, that's just, I think, being as fair can be right here. A lot of people have been liking these lower freezer style things. This one doesn't have a drawer that slides open, but I think as a result, it actually has like a little bit slightly larger, more accessible storage in here. The kitchen doesn't have a wastebasket space. Again, it doesn't really have any counter space to truly speak of. But remember, if you get the oven, you're going to lose these two big drawers. When you're in a small camper like this, having as much storage as possible can be very valuable. Okay, yep. I stroked out again. We're going to move on from there. You can see the charge controller down below. And again, just so you don't have to crawl on your hands and knees to get to the storage, the space below the refrigerator actually kind of comes to you, which is really nice. Now, working our way up here in the bathroom, there's not a whole lot of storage in the bathroom. So like this extra little shelf where you could pack and hang a couple towels or something like that, that is actually very, very useful. I should get in here and give you a better look at that because all you're looking at is the side of a piece of wood. Which, I don't know that really does anybody any favors. And I get that this isn't the world's greatest camera angle, but it's better than what I was doing. And you can see you got an Octopus Fight Club hanging out down in there. I'm going to spin you around real slow like a record, baby. We do have a big skylight above the shower, which, as you can see, is very handy for a tall, balding goofball like me, who's a little bit over 6 foot tall, because it means that I actually have headroom to stand in there. My head's absolutely all the way up in the skylight. Otherwise, it would be quite problematic. On the way down here, it's a little bit of a shub, isn't it? Not mostly a shower, but kind of a tub, just a touch. The space around the toilet wasn't terrible, but depending on your stature, I caught myself banging my elbow against the wall a little harder than I necessarily meant to, but, just... It is what it is. Big sink in here, too. Decent counter space for a small camper with a little corner sink and bath arrangement. Overall, I'm not too unhappy with the bathroom. A little tight on the elbow space, but I also... Oh, God, I'm tripping over the cabinet tray I left open behind me like an idiot. But I didn't exactly... I'm not trying to be gross about this. I didn't lean the way that a person probably would when you were using the bathroom. I just sat there flat cheeking it. So, there might actually be a little bit more room in there than I displayed, I suppose. But weirdly, road mode on this camper is about as good as it could possibly get, which there's a couple reasons for it. So the bathroom is obviously very easily accessible. The door can swing open and close, so getting to the bunks is not a problem. When you put the dinette down into a sleeper, there's 2 small cushions on the back and 1 big cushion under your butt that you don't use. So you actually have extra cushions for for sitting down there. But your refrigerator, your kitchen, all that stuff is accessible. And because this is a Norco exact slide system, in theory, my understanding is you could actually occupy this slide while it is retracted and while it is closed, which is starting to make me wonder, is there a world in which a no slide version of this floor plan makes sense? I don't know. Let me know. And remember, this is a 60-inch wide bed. It's short, but it is 60 inches wide. So you don't have to, like, basically you can use the bed. You can use the bed. You can use the dining, bathroom, kitchen. You can use everything in the RV without touching the slide button. And RVs with slide outs, that is an extremely rare quality. And if that is handy info for you, if you learned something today, or if you had a little fun, I don't know, hit that subscribe button. We'll keep it rolling. So real quick, something I want to point out here is this is a chunky monkey of a single axle camper. You know, fully max loaded GVW is it's nearly 5,800 pounds. Some people are going to say that's too heavy for one axle. They make axles that could hold, you know, over 8,000 pounds. That's not necessarily the problem. I understand if you aren't comfortable with that, that's perfectly fair. Some folks say, yeah, but what if I have a blowout when I'm going down the road? I think you should probably feel, you should look at a tandem axle RV. I think you'll probably feel a little bit better there. But it is within the realm of many tow package mid-size pickups or equivalent SUVs. There will certainly be some where you don't want to do that. Or if you're going to be towing in the Rocky Mountains, you're probably going to want a little more capable vehicle. But most any half-ton or equivalent should yank this around pretty darn readily. It's not too big or heavy for one of those. Your wall construction, again, you do have the double Asdel, so, you know, all like aluminum frame, composite packed, you know, laminated wall structure there. And like any Jayco, you've basically got double the warranty of pretty much anybody else. So if it's kind of your first time getting into this, if you're not sure what you're looking at, the fact is they have you know, put their money where their mouth is for twice as long as nearly anybody else. And I think that's pretty telling, actually. Now, if you notice the proximity of that entry door that swings open from the left to the right toward that awning arm, you could hit the awning arm sideways with the door. That's bad. You know, thankfully it is an anti-slam friction hinge door. Somebody might ask, well, why doesn't the door open the other way from the right to the left? Because God forbid if it popped open going down the road, it would slam against the side of the trailer. That's why RV doors almost always open in the orientation from left to right. Handy set of power outlets down there, and it is a full pass-through. It does kind of wrap around that sofa, but it is a full pass-through. Now, this has, you know, rear and side camera prep. So if you want to outfit this thing with a full observation suite, you totally could. The spare tire, by the way, is mounted under the belly, which is also enclosed. Now, last I knew on the Feather Micro series, sometimes little things like this change, but last I knew, the Feather Micros didn't actually force air heat the belly, but tank heaters are available on one of these. The upgraded tire package here, this is something that's been very popular for a couple reasons. One, it looks cool, it looks awesome, but secondly, it raises the RV up off the ground, gives you a little more ground clearance. Now, here's an interesting thing. Depending on what specs you read, Jayco has actually had the exterior width measurement wrong on their website for a long time. There's two different measurements essentially that could come into play. The body of the RV, where the fiberglass stops, is 7'6" wide, but they're using an 8-foot wide axle. So their website just says 8 foot wide. And I guess, you know what, I actually, in a sense, now that I say that out loud, I respect the fact that they were giving you a worst case scenario measurement. But the thing is, they went with a standard width axle on a narrow body camper, and that provides better towing stability. It's not exactly a perfect parallel, but if you stand with your feet pinched right together and somebody pushes you sideways, and then if you stand with your feet spread apart, you have more stability. It's kind of the same sort of concept. Now, the mini camp kitchen here is factory standard. If you don't like the stuff, you could always take out the fridge, you could take out the griddle, and just have some storage there if you want, but that stuff is all factory standard. There's not really like a delete option. They have juggled a couple different type of ladders over there. They've gone back to the fixed mounted ladder, which I kind of personally prefer, but just don't strap cargo to it. That's not what they're made for. Giving you a look up top on that roof though, you see a couple things. You see the 200-watt solar panel, But you also see this interesting little rack on the top, and it does whatever you want it to do. You want to add like a bike rack to it, kayaks. You could add extra solar panels to it. There's a lot of different things that you could do with that. Clark Griswold strapped Aunt Edna on top of the Wagon Queen family truckster when she croaked on the family vacation. I mean, you know, you could have a chance to do the same thing if you have an Aunt Edna and you go on a Clark Griswold family vacation. Moving on from there, water heater off the back side of this sucker. Oh, it shoots the hot air out its backside. Ah, lovely. We also have a 2-inch receiver hitch off the back. So if you want to add things like a bike rack, essentially at bumper mount, even though it doesn't have, oops, sorry, I bumped the camera, even though it doesn't have a bumper. If you wanted to have like a little cargo tray where you mount a portable generator because you want to get away from things a little bit, you could also, this RV's holding tank capacities are not terrible. Cousin Garrett, could you flash the capacities of this back across the bottom of the screen there so folks could see that? They pretty much put the biggest holding tanks they really could on a smaller camper like this. And it is because it's a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier. It has a taller, deeper chassis that they were able to do that. So there are, you know, benefits to it sometimes. Now it's a single sewer outlet, which is nice. They give you the tube to keep your sewer hose kind of in check right there. And this is, again, this is the reason that there's not storage under the entirety of the dinette, because they actually had to cut a chunk of the slide out to make room for the wheel well. And again, in case you're curious, this is the Norco Exact slide system, not AccuSlide. There's 2 different types of cable systems out there. They each do different things. This one seems to work very nicely for straight in and out kind of slides. Now the back side of the dinette, instead of needing to tear everything apart, thankfully they did give us a door to get back here. So everything is, I think, as readily accessible as it possibly could be. You might notice, though, the front pass-through gets those nice slam latches, whereas your remaining compartment baggage doors don't necessarily get the same treatment there. One last little note I want to leave you with. Take a look at the stabilizers. First of all, this is giving us front and rear stabilizers. Usually at this price point, you can expect that. There are some single axles that don't, specifically the cheaper cost ones, but they're also using a better variety, the quick drop stabilizer, that has basically an extra stability arm so the RV doesn't get wiggle jiggle herky jerky when you get to your site. So thanks again for tuning in, everybody. I'll drop you a link in the video description, of course, to double check pricing and availability on this. We try to keep this in stock at pretty much any of our Jayco stores. This is a very, very popular floor plan. But as a result, there are times that we actually do get sold out, sometimes even nationwide, depending on the time of year and the demand that we have on this thing. But generally speaking, we will have actual pricing listed for you right on our website, and you never need to contact a salesperson, you know. Short of that, I will you know what? I'll dig up a bunch of other links. There's plenty of other builders that make something like this. Most of them will be a more basic stick and tin camper, which means less money, which is not bad. It means also you're not going to get all the features you get in a J Feather, but you know, everything's a push and a pull. Let me know which one you go with and why. And until next time, thanks again for tuning in. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.